All right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. How's everyone doing? The question for today is left or right? That's it. No tricks, no gotchas. Left or right? Making things a little bit bigger on my end. 1 second. There we go. Welcome back, everyone. How's everyone doing? Redbird in here first. Arasi, how's it going? Welcome, everyone. Digital Fendi subscribed. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you. For folks that are kind of just joining us, all the subscriptions and donations and cheering and all that stuff goes to the nonprofit I work at during the day called Resilient Coders. Welcome back, everyone. Alyssa with the first heated question of the day. I've literally dreamt about the 100 Devs application 2 times now. When is it going live? Tomorrow. Tomorrow, I am announcing the 100 Devs. The application will be open tomorrow. Move took a little bit longer than I was planning, and so kind of gotten settled now and can kind of get everything out. So tomorrow, it'll launch first on Twitter, then I'll share it on Discord. So tomorrow, it is happening. Welcome back, everyone. Hey, good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. Let me see if I can I gotta make this screen a little bit bigger. It's a little hard to read chat. Hold on 1 second, 1 second. There we go. All right. So the question today is left or right? Praise Egg, thanks for the cheers. 100 Devs is the continuation of this class. So we ran a 10-week boot camp. We had 2 community goals that we hit. One community goal was this extra animation class that we have right now that we're going to go through today. And then the extension of this program will be a full stack program that's going to take folks from 0 to employed. And that program is going to be called 100 Devs. And so it's going to be an extended boot camp, and folks can start applying tomorrow. We're definitely prioritizing folks that are underrepresented in tech and folks that are affected by the pandemic, just like this current boot camp. So really excited to see y'all come through. Welcome back, everyone. Cookie codes. Yeah, I switched up the conditioner, so I think the curl is a little bit different. Welcome back. Welcome back. Alyssa, the move went great. Yeah. Child's night. New place is awesome. There's no humming, air conditioning in the background. We have that lovely central air, so I'm super excited. Still setting everything up. You'll notice that I'm kind of facing a different way right now. I don't have the whole setup exactly dialed in like I want it. So hopefully we'll get all that done this weekend, and we'll be all good going forward. Reptar Bro, no, I haven't seen the meme in Discord yet. I haven't looked at the meme channel. I'll catch it after the stream though. Boogaboo, I missed y'all too. It was funny. Like on Tuesday, I was pretty bummed out on Tuesday. I was like, I missed everyone. And then we got the Learn Leon emoticon, the first one that came through. I got the notification from Twitch that it went through, and so I tweeted that and sent out a message to everyone. And so I was really excited about that. But I was missing everyone. This is like I said, been a lot of fun. I've kind of grown used to interacting with y'all every Tuesday and Thursday, and so it was sad not to have that. So I'm glad we're back. I'm glad next week we got 2 more classes. Boom. I've been stalking you on Twitter. Hey, that's all right. Oh, Rossi, you upgraded your home connection to 1 gig. That's awesome. Welcome back. Welcome back. I love the emoticon spam in chat. That looks awesome. So for folks that are subscribed, you can use the emoticons already. But if you are not subscribed, you don't have to get the emoticon. You can use your channel points to unlock it if you want to go ahead and spam it. I think it'll be useful for raids and stuff like that. So I'm excited to have the first one. There are 2 other ones for tier 2 and tier 3 subs that I don't want anybody to use them. So I just use generic ones. Like they're not like anything special because I don't want anyone to do those tiers. So there are 2 other emotes, but they're just completely like the generic Twitch ones. I didn't even bother to change them. And so we'll leave it as just this one. And you can unlock it with using your channel points. I'm glad folks enjoy it. All right, I want to go ahead and get right into it, folks. Tonight we're going to be doing all CSS animations, but like always, I want to start off with questions. So folks have questions. Let's do that first. I'm going to pull up Little Leon. I'll start presenting, and we'll pull up the question slide. And so feel free to get questions in. All right. Questions about code, questions about life, questions about things that we've covered in the last bootcamp, things about the future. I'll take any. I love Izzy already saying organization. That's hilarious. I want to see if I can make this monitor bigger. 1 second. I'm going to bring back Big Leon. I'm going to try using my displays real quick. System preferences. 1 second. This is a little too small for me to see the text. Much better. All right. I think that'll do it. Let me make sure nothing messed up by going back to Little Leon. Cool. All right. There we go. Sorry, my extra monitor on the left is a bigger monitor, and so the text was a little too small to see. So I wanted to make sure I could change the display options and not have anything break. So questions. Would love questions. Let's get through some questions like we always do. Four Sharks asked, do you like Love on the Spectrum or the Indian Matchmaking Show? I am not proud to admit that I binge watched both of those already. And I was a big fan of both. I haven't got my wife to join in and watching them with me, but I'm a sucker for any like relationship type show. Been Bachelor Nation for a while, so I definitely binged those in like one sitting. They were fun. What's the best way to prep your resume when you're first applying for software roles? Anything we should keep in mind? Yeah, you want to make sure that your experience is highlighted foremost, right? And so I always tell folks to have a couple things on their resume. One, anywhere that you've been an engineer or any type of time you worked as an engineer. All my students put their experience in their bootcamp, but they don't actually call it the bootcamp experience. They just say that where they were a developer at. They always put their freelancing projects on there, and they always put any of the bigger projects that they've contributed to, either their own project or open source projects. And so if you keep those kind of three key things on your resume, those should be highlighted first and foremost, and then everything else is extra. I'm going to do a whole class on like how to build your resume and how to get hired as a software engineer. So that's coming down the line. So you can stay tuned for that. Next week we have our 2 bonus JavaScript classes, and then I'm going to be planning a class while I get prepped for 100 devs. And one of those classes will be like how to build out your portfolio, how to build out your resume. So that's coming, and I'll have better advice then for sure. No, I never heard of Edibit before. Hey, Leon, how difficult is it to become a front-end dev versus full stack for JavaScript and Node? I like to liken them to the same difficulty. In terms of if you want to be a front-end developer, I still recommend learning full stack JavaScript. Of course, you don't have to get super deep into the details, but even as a front-end developer, you should be able to build simple full stack applications on your own before applying for strictly front-end roles. A lot of folks apply for a front-end role not because they enjoy it more, but because they fear the back end a little bit. And you want to get rid of that fear before applying if that's the reason why you're focused on it. If you just enjoy front-end development, you love the more visual aspect of it, yeah, you're going to want to focus. You're going to want to pick up a pretty common like framework or library on the front end as well, like React or something to help you stand out. But you should still also be able to build very simple full stack apps after doing 1 or 2 like basic tutorials before diving fully deeply into the front end world. In JS, what does return do? Did not understand the MDN explanation. Return just spits out stuff to where the function was called. I think it's karma. So return will just send the information that came out of the function back to where the function was called. So let's say we had a function called add two numbers and it added two numbers together. If you return those numbers, if you return like that addition, like that sum would be returned to wherever you called that function. Okay. So if you called the function and set it equal to a variable, now that variable would have the value. If you console log that function, then it would spit out into the console log. So it kind of just spits out to wherever the function was called or where you told it to run. Ms. Turner, thank you, thank you. Bugaboo said, do you know about iOS jailbreak tweak development? I want to do it as a hobby eventually. Are they coded in Swift or a variation of C, or is it kind of dealer's choice? So each of the jailbreaks are different. I'm not really super versed in that. I do have a friend that's really into it though, like that's really into that scene. So Bugaboo, if you hit me up on Discord, I can put you in touch or send you the right way. Oh, Rossi is working through the circle. That's awesome. Green asks, what are the best spots to eat in Boston? Visiting for a day from Cali. Going to see where Resilient Coders is holding it down. Depends on what type of food you like. I'm a big, I like Thai food. I like pho, that type of stuff. So sugar and spice in Cambridge is my jam. I'm also vegan, so Mai Tai Vegan in Chinatown and Grasshopper, which is closer to Brookline, are like my top tier spots. So Mai Tai Vegan, Grasshopper, and then Sugar and Spice in Cambridge. Alistar Dragan said, as a budding web developer, how does one compete against things like Wix, Squarespace, GoDaddy Builder, etc.? You don't. If you're building basic websites, those platforms are probably better for most of the clients you'll deal with. Sometimes those aren't a good fit, but a lot of times folks don't want to have to deal with learning Squarespace, learning Wix, learning GoDaddy, any of that type of stuff. So I still have a lot of clients that want a Squarespace website, but don't want to learn Squarespace or how to use it. And so they still pay my rates to build stuff like that. So even as a developer, you can utilize those tools if they're necessary. When I'm doing larger sites or more specifically web applications, I don't really use those platforms. So I think as you're early on in your career, don't fight against them. See the value that they might provide to a client. And if that value is what the client's looking for, then go ahead and use it. Cool. Can you tell us a little bit about using the command line? Yeah, sure. So we'll actually get to that later on in the bootcamp class. So like last class, we'll be using the command line, Git and GitHub, stuff like that. Alyssa asked, is 100 devs going to start from zero, like going over HTML basics again? Yep. So we're going to start all the way back from zero. That way folks that weren't a part of this bootcamp can still catch up and get up to speed. So the first couple of weeks will kind of almost be the same, except with like new projects, slightly different examples. So folks that did go through this aren't bored out their mind. Cool. Do you have any tips on developing something from a handoff, like a Figma file from a designer? Yeah, it's something that you kind of jump into, right? I have my like system, like I typically the designer I work with is wonderful, and they give me not only the design, but the fonts, the colors, things like that. And so for me, I do layout first. If they have given me a mobile and tablet design to shoot for, then I kind of code out those media queries first, making sure that my site is fluid and elastic in between. If you don't know what that is, definitely check out our CSS class on YouTube, ! YouTube would be where you can find out how to do that. And so I just kind of start from desktop, go to tablet, go to mobile with the designs that they've given me, making sure I'm using the fonts, the colors, and all the things like that. My site's fluid and elastic in between, and that's kind of where I'll stop unless I get any other hints from a designer. Yeah. Does Domino's have vegan cheese? Izzy, they don't. But I can do pizzas without cheese. I do enjoy some pizzas without cheese sometimes. Like, you got good veggies, I'll do a pizza with just veggies. How do I fix my mouse? Can't seem to move it. Turn it on and back off again. Unplug it, plug it back in. 3491 asks, do you still anticipate doing office hours moving forward? Yes. Every Saturday moving forward, I'll be doing office hours. So we'll be back this Saturday doing office hours from 12 p.m. To 3 p.m. What would you say the minimum amount of tech knowledge someone would need to have to be able to effectively work with a dev team? It depends on what that role is. There are some folks that just write HTML emails all day, and they really only need to know HTML and CSS, and that's it. If you want to work as a front-end developer, you're going to need to add some JavaScript to that. As a full-stack developer, you're going to need to add some sort of back-end language, maybe Node or Ruby and Ruby on Rails or Python or something like that. But yeah, so it's kind of like the minimum would be depending on what type of role you're going for. Cool. Just kind of looking at any last minute questions here before we get started. Plix, I didn't see your question. Go ahead and ask again. Let me see if I can scroll and find it. Oh, embedded JavaScript. So you're going to find that there are lots of variants of JavaScript. Things like TypeScript, there are JavaScript that'll run on microprocessors. They're all going to have the same basic syntax, so they're not going to differentiate that much. They all just do things slightly differently or can be used in slightly different contexts. So if you're just starting out on learning, don't worry about kind of getting hung up on like the specifics. Just go ahead and learn your regular old JavaScript. And then I always say these like variants are tools in a tool belt, right? There are some times where I might want to use that specific tool, and I'll learn to use it for that use case. Diabolical redeemed hydrate. Thank you. Appreciate it. So for those that are new, and Bugaboo also did hydrate. Sorry, gonna move away from the mic here. I have a lovely iced coffee. That's some Trader Joe's creamer. And then I have some iced tea as well to hydrate this evening. For those that are using their channel points, aka the micro Leons, you can go ahead and use them to do a number of things. For me to review your resume, for me to review your portfolio, to go ahead and contribute to the community goals as well. I put up a really high bounty community goal that I don't know if we're going to actually hit it, because I'm not sure if everybody wants to hit it. And so there's a 20,000 community goal right now for setting up the Minecraft server. I have it up and running. I have it testing. I want to release it to the world, but that's going to be up to y'all and your community points if we unlock the Minecraft server so we can hang out outside of stream. It is a flavored creamer from Trader Joe's. It's a maple oat milk creamer, which is really bomb. I really enjoy it. And then the iced tea, unfortunately, is Trader Joe's. It's not the Kirkland special. I haven't been able to hit up Costco since I moved yet. You don't see the Minecraft server goal. Let me check. Let me go to Big Leon real quick and make sure it's there. Maybe I didn't save it. Let's see. 1 second. Just going to set up this goal. Channel points. Challenges. Let me make sure it's turned on. Oh, I didn't start it. There we go. Challenge started. So now we should have a new community goal, which is turning on the Minecraft server. Holy crap. I can see like it getting added to in real time, so it's interesting. All right. Ooh, Izzy and Alyssa want that Minecraft server. That's wild. 5K already. Wow. All right, so tonight, let's get to, I think we got through most of the questions. If I missed your question, don't worry. When we take a break, go ahead and ask your question. To look at the goals, Rossi, right underneath where you can enter a message in the chat, you can click on the little micro Leon photo, and it'll give you all the different reward options. So there are a bunch of them right now. We're 44% of the way to the Minecraft server. Just so everyone's aware of them, you can unlock the sub emote for 400. So you don't have to subscribe to get the emote. You can unlock it. You can make me hydrate, posture check. You can highlight a message in chat. You can make me stretch. You can get a portfolio review, a resume review, custom learning plans, and you can pick who we raid for 10,000 points. So those are all the challenges we have right now. If there are other challenges you would like to see, go ahead and hit me up on Discord, put them in the general channel, and I'll be happy to see if we can get them going. It'll be fun. Four Sharks, Minecraft is a video game, kind of like Legos, but digitally, and people play it and you can hang out and like build cool stuff and play fun games and things like that. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to go back to Little Leon, or maybe I should start saying Micro Leon. There are Micro Leons. And let's look at the agenda for tonight. So we're going to review some of the basics. So if you're just joining tonight and you missed our introduction to CSS, we're going to cover the basics, but pretty quickly, just as a refresher for folks, because we've been in JavaScript land for so long. Then we're going to go ahead and cover some CSS fundamentals. We're going to review our CSS selectors, talk about specificity again very briefly, and then we're going to spend the rest of the evening together learning about CSS3 animations. Lots of fun stuff planned, lots of really cool examples that we're going to work through. So really excited to do this class. The class should be a little bit shorter than our normal classes just because this is the bonus class. But we have about 4 different big examples that we're going to work through that are hopefully fun. And then we'll call it for the night. So thanks to everybody that's contributing to the Minecraft launch. We're at 12K out of 20K already. That's mind-boggling. Appreciate everybody kind of lending some support to it. Let's jump into it, folks. Once again, if you are new and you want the slides, you can do !slides in chat, and then it'll give you access to the slides that we're following along with right now. If you want to have control over moving back and forth through the slides, just get rid of that little live, the /live, get rid of that, and then you'll have full control. And then if you want the materials for today, !Discord, join our Discord, agree to the rules, and then you'll be able to join the follow along materials channel where you can download the zip for today and have all the starter code. Cool. It's so interesting seeing people use the emote in chat. That's really neat. This is special. I've used Twitch for a really long time, and being able to see an emote, like a emoticon that's my face, that's pretty cool. Not going to lie. I'm pretty jazzed about that. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it. We got to affiliate super quick. And when we got to affiliate, we got the ability to have these little micro Leons. So I appreciate y'all. All right. What is the internet? I already see some folks throw in the answers in chat. I see cats. I see a cable and an ocean. I see Leon emoticons. I see pizza. I see cat wire. What is the internet in chat, folks? What's the internet? What's the internet? It's a network of cats. Al Gore. I love it. Connected wires. All right. So I will take anything, and I have taken anything in the past. So the internet is a connection of computers. We typically refer to them as client-side devices and server-side devices. Client-side devices are devices we use to consume the internet. They can be our mobile phone. They can be our desktops, our laptops. From those devices, we use a program called a browser to make requests. And those requests go across these wires to other computers that are out there on the internet. And those computers hear those requests and respond with a bunch of different files. They can respond with HTML files, CSS files, JavaScript, images, whatever it may be, they can respond with those files. And then the browser can use those files to render what we see in front of us in the browser, right? So the idea here is that we can make requests, get responses, and we can put it all together to see what we see in the browser. Cool. Welcome back, Last Avatar. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. Golden rule. Super important. It's also important as things start to get a little bit blurry. Now that we're actually dealing with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, we got to be even more careful, right? Remember, HTML should only contain our content. CSS should only be our style. And JavaScript should only be our behavior and interaction. We shouldn't mix these anymore. We shouldn't put CSS in our HTML or JavaScript in our CSS. And the answer is why? Chat, why shouldn't we mix these concerns? I love seeing it. Before I even ask the question, I love seeing it kind of just a wall. Yeah, organization is the answer, right? We want to have good organization. One of the first things we can do to have our code organized on the front end in terms of our HTML, CSS, and our JavaScript is to keep them all separate, right? So that when we come back to our code and we want to make something pink, we know to go to our CSS. When we want to come back and add event listeners or the ability to click on things and have the website respond, we know that that's going to be our JavaScript, our behavior, interaction, right? And if we want to go ahead and add more content, we know that's going to be our HTML. Okay, cool. So let's talk about some CSS. Let's talk through the basics very quickly of the basic CSS. We'll do some basic CSS practice just to kind of get the dirt off, to get the dust off, and then we'll move right into CSS animations and have a lot of fun. Cool. Where does our CSS go, chat? Does it go inline? Does it go in the head? Does it go in a separate file? Yeah. Our CSS goes in a separate file, right? If we're adhering to that separation of concerns, keeping those concerns separate and putting our CSS in a separate file is an easy way to do that. There are some rare exceptions where it won't be in a separate file. If you're writing HTML5 emails, you might have some CSS inline because you might not have an external style sheet. If you work for Amazon, oh, shouldn't say that anymore. If you work for a company that delivers a lot of packages, you will maybe put some CSS in the head using something called critical path CSS, right? And then for the most of us, we'll always keep our CSS in a separate file. Way to go, chat. You're on fire today. All right. If we're going to put our CSS in a separate file, we need to go ahead and use that link tag. That link tag links our HTML to the CSS. Cool. Remember, CSS has a very specific syntax. That syntax is different than our HTML. That syntax is different than our JavaScript. It has a very specific syntax. And the whole thing that we have in our HTML is called a rule. So when we're writing HTML, we're writing tags. When we're writing CSS, we're writing rules. So this whole thing we have on the page right now is a rule. And what this rule is doing, this rule is making all of our paragraphs, so all of our big blocks of text, red and bold, right? So this whole thing is a rule. A rule is broken down into a selector, like we're going to select the elements in our HTML that we want to style. Then we have the other part of the rule, which is our declaration block. The declaration block contains all of our declarations, and each declaration is broken up into a property and a value. So if you're new and you haven't learned about CSS yet, we're going to be writing all of our CSS today in a separate file. We're going to be writing a bunch of rules that are going to dictate how our content is styled. And we're going to start pushing the boundaries of CSS because we have something cool that came with CSS 3 called animations, meaning that we can use CSS to add extra presentation to our websites and make it do really interesting stuff. This is awesome. Cool. Can we hack NASA using CSS? Not entirely, because CSS is not a fully featured programming language, so you're going to be hard pressed to be able to get the stuff done that you want to get done. But there have been some exploits that have used CSS in the past to do interesting things. There was a CSS exploit that that worked with a Facebook pixel to reveal who was on your website, which was pretty interesting because you could see people as they visited different sites based off of the pixel that Facebook was using to track them. And there was a way to like reveal it. I don't remember all the details, but there was some way to reveal it by like breaking images and some sort of CSS styling. And so there have been weird exploits that have used CSS, but we're not really going to write CSS to do any hacking. You know? As Reptar said, though, you can probably hack it to make the NASA site look really pretty. NASA has some wonderful APIs. Next week, we're going to use NASA's APIs to get pictures back from NASA. So next week, we're going to use JavaScript to get images from NASA. It's going to be really cool. All right. Chat, what is this? What have I just circled? What did I just circle, chat? Yeah. All right, folks. All right, folks. I see y'all. Who was first? Kayla was first. Izzy was second. Cross was third. Yeah, it's a property. We all just circled a property. And the next thing I'll circle is this. What did I just circle? What did I just circle, chat? Declaration block. Nice, nice. And let's do one more. What is that? What did I just circle there, folks? Nice. Izzy came in with the declaration first. Diabolical in there second. Bugaboo with DB. Nice. All right, folks. It's a declaration. Well done. Well done. Well done. All right, let's keep progressing. I feel like we've kind of covered the basics of the CSS. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. If you need the quick refresher, it's here in the slides. But we're going to go ahead and just talk about a few more things. Remember, Cascade is still in effect. When we're writing our rules today, we're going to have to be mindful of the cascade, meaning CSS that comes above can override CSS that comes below, right? So the paragraphs that are above can override the paragraphs that come below. Any rule that we write above can be overwritten by the rule that comes below as long as the same or greater specificity is present. All right. Hey, BaysYC, thank you. I appreciate the subscription. So why might we want to link to a separate CSS file, folks? Why might we want to link to a separate CSS file? One more time. Cross with the separation of concerns first. Karma with separation of concerns. Nice. Wonderful. All right. Let's review some simple styles real quick, and then we'll do some simple practice. So go ahead and look at these styles. We can, when it comes to color, we can do things 4 different ways. We have color keywords, we have hexadecimal values, we have RGB values, we have HSLA values, and these are all different values we can use to bring color to our sites, right? And so we can go ahead and use the property color for our font color, and then any of these specific values would change the color. We have things like a font family. If we're going to do a font family, remember, we need the actual font file. So we can use things like Google API, like Google's APIs for fonts, right? So we can use the fonts from Google Fonts if we need that actual font file. You could also download your own font files if you want it, right? And then we have the ability to use that. Once we have that font file, we have the ability to use it by using the word font family. So in the practice we're about to do in a few seconds, you're going to need to remember font family and grabbing the link from Google Fonts. And one other thing here we have is font weight as well. Remember, when you're grabbing those font files, you want the different weights if you want it to be bolder or thinner, things like that. Cool. Remember, any of these things that you have trouble, you can always look up on the MDN. Anything that has to do with HTML or CSS, including all the new stuff we're going to learn today when it comes to CSS animations, you can look up on the MDN. All right. Quickly, relationships. We'll look at classes and IDs, and we'll do some practice. Remember, there are many different ways to start selecting CSS elements. We have parent-child selectors, right? When you have an element inside of an element. We have, this is direct parent-child, when the element is directly inside, so the paragraph is directly inside the section. I'm going to go through these pretty fast because we've already done this in so much detail. If you're new and you haven't learned about selecting by relationships, definitely check out our past videos on YouTube. I want to get to the animation stuff, so I'm going to go through a little bit quickly. We have the parent-child selector where it's not direct, so it could be any level deep. So this paragraph is still inside of the section, so it works even though there's a couple layers in between. Okay, so if you're not worried about the layers, you can use section space P. So just that space will select any child inside of the element. If you want a direct child, so only one level down, you got to use that right caret. Cool. All right. Oh, Alyssa, I didn't know that there's a max limit per stream. I got to look that up. I don't know how to fix that. Cool. One other selector that we'll see are sibling selectors, where we can select a sibling that's next to another sibling by using the plus sign. So those are all of our sibling selectors. We also learned about IDs and classes, right? So IDs are enabling us to target one element in our HTML and only one element directly. So here, this paragraph has the ID of zebra. That enables me to target that paragraph, hello YouTube, and only that paragraph, hello YouTube. Once you use an ID name like zebra, no other element on the page can have that name, right? And each element can only have one ID. Classes are a little different. Classes are a little different. Each element can have as many classes as you would like. Each element can have an ID and a class. That's totally okay, right? And then our classes are just ways of targeting multiple elements at the same time. As always, Leon has the class of amazing hair. I have the class of glasses, and I have the class of microphone in front of my face, right? Other folks could have those classes as well, but I am one entity that has multiple classes. I can also have an ID, which is like a unique identifier as well. So remember, you can target elements not only by their relationships, but by IDs and classes. And we're going to see some IDs and classes in the work that we do later when we get to animations. Remember specificity. I'm going to go through this quickly. Specificity, you get 1 point for tags, 10 points for classes, 100 points for IDs, and 1,000 points for other. It's all right, Ghost. We'll keep the math simple. All right. So we have 1, 10, 100, and 1,000. So how many points of specificity, chat, would this selector be? Folx, your favorite game? Nice. I think Sophia got it first. Child's Night came in there second. K-Cost right after that. Yeah, there's 2 points, right? 2 points of specificity here. We get 1 point for this paragraph and another point for that paragraph because they're both tags. So that's 2 points of specificity. All right. Yeah, Kaylee, you had the extra 0. I saw that. You were close, though. You're super fast. All right. How many points of specificity would this selector have? We're keeping them simple tonight, folks. Bays YC came in with the first one. Nice. 100 points. Sophia right underneath of it. K-Cost got it too. Numbers 2G got it. Nice. Yeah. 100 points, right? Because it's not a tag. It's not a class. It is, however, an ID. So we get 100 points for that ID. And one last simple one for you folks. How many points of specificity does this have right here? How many points of specificity, folks? Ooh. Blah, blah, law, I believe, got that one first. Yes. K-Cost in there after. Kayla came in after that as well. Nice. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and be 11 points of specificity here. This is a class, so we get 10 points for this. And this is a tag, so we get 1 point for that. So 10 plus 1 is 11. So this has 11 points of specificity. If there was another rule that came below this one in the cascade, it would have to have 11 or greater points of specificity to override it. Cool. All right. Let's shake off the dust, folks. Let's shake off the dust and open up the starter code for night called Basic CSS. So in the class materials today, there should be a Basic CSS folder. Go ahead and open that up. I'm going to open it up myself here as well. And so I have this lovely basic CSS folder. Whoop. And here it is. And so inside this basic CSS folder, there are some instructions. Make this text light green, underline, and have a purple background. So what I want you all to do is we're gonna put 4 minutes on the clock. And in those 4 minutes, you're gonna follow along and go ahead and write out our CSS. So if you're new and haven't followed along before, you can do !Discord to get access to all of our code. If you join the Discord server, you agree to the rules, there'll be a follow along materials channel where you can get all of the starter code for this evening like we're gonna go through now. So go ahead, I'm gonna put 4 minutes on the clock. And this will be the last review we do tonight. Everything else will be new going forward. So go ahead, I'll bring up some music for us to listen to. Nice. Antifa, you're on the phone. Cool, glad you're able to join. Miriam, don't even bother racing with the math things. That's all right. All right, folks. 3 minutes, 36 seconds left on the clock. Go ahead and try and power through this. This will be the last bit of review we do, and then we're going to move into all the new stuff. Go ahead and take your time, get through it. We'll go over it all together. Nice. If you have questions while you're working on this stuff or questions in general, go ahead and ask them in chat and I'll answer them while folks are working. We're at 15K already for the Minecraft server. That's wild. 5K left to go and I'll open it up. We're gonna open it hopefully this weekend if we hit the goal. And Stefa's on the phone and in bed. Hey, there you go. Super Cyborg Ninja, the move went well. My wife and I really pared down all of our stuff, so we were able to get everything in pretty quickly. I moved in pretty quickly, but all the unpacking and getting the desk set up and the lights and the cameras, that's still going, but I'll get there soon enough. This weekend, I'm gonna put a lot of work into getting the stream up to where I want it to be in terms of the production value. I got a brand new camera that'll give us better video. I got a lot of other stuff that I can do to make the stream a little bit better. I just need the time to do it. And so this weekend, I'm gonna take a lot of time. We also have our office hours this weekend. So if any of the stuff that we go over today, all the new stuff is difficult or tricky a little bit and you want some extra practice, come on by office hours every Saturday, 12 to 3 p.m. We're back on schedule now that I'm moved in. LeCap just so subs. I appreciate that, LeCap. I really appreciate that. Thank you a lot. For folks that are new, all the subs, the cheers, all that stuff is being donated to Resilient Coders, which is a free nonprofit bootcamp based out of Boston. It's where I teach during the day. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Ooh. Got folks done already. Miriam's done. Ghost 6 Fires done. Super Cyborg Ninja, no. Tomorrow I'll drop 100 devs on Twitter. I'll make the big announcement tomorrow. Need a little bit more time due to the move, and so everything will be announced tomorrow. I'll announce it on Twitch first. I'm sorry, on Twitter first, then Discord, and then I'll talk more about it on Tuesday's class. Kickoffs is done. Nice. If you finish up, go ahead and put done in the Twitch chat so we can see who finished. Well done, everyone. Straight Jacket done. Nice. Also, welcome back, everyone. It's good to have you. QLB, 100 devs is the next iteration of this bootcamp. I'm taking 100 folks from kind of starting all the way to having enough skills to be employable. We're gonna do it live on Twitch. The folks that are part of the 100 devs will get a lot more kind of one-on-one interaction, grading, things like that. And so you can always follow along on Twitch, but I'm taking 100 folks and kind of putting them through a whole process, a whole full boot camp, all live here on Twitch. All right, folks, come on back. Come on back. That was 4 minutes on the clock. Welcome back, everyone. Ooh, we got some folks done. Melissa's done. Mine was done. Ron Ghoul got done too. Blah blah got done. Nice. Cross, Reptar, Omar all came in done at the end. Nice. Well done, everybody. Let me go ahead and kill this music. And let's go ahead and take a look at it together. All right, I was going to copy this real quick. And I'm going to go to my CSS here and I'm going to paste. And there we go. So make this text light green, underline, and have a purple background. Cool. So we're talking about this H1 here. So let's go ahead and style this H1. We'll do H1. And then we're going to do text light green, underline, and have a purple background. So let's go ahead and do color for the text. What did y'all do for light green? I'm just going to do the color keyword unless somebody has something better. Oh, cross gaming the RGB values. Let's do the word because we moved through a little fast. Text decoration for the underline. Nice. And then background of purple. Cool. Let's go ahead and open this in the browser and see our lovely handiwork. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Look at that lovely light green. Look at that wonderful purple background. That nice underline. That's awesome. Cool. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. Make this text blue, bolded, 25 pixels, and have a red border. Cool. Let's go ahead and take this over and put it here as a comment just to help guide us. So you remember you can highlight the text. And then no matter kind of what you're in, whether it's HTML, CSS, or JavaScript, you do that lovely command / and it's going to comment it out for you. All right, so let's target the H2. And let's go ahead and make the text blue. So we'll do color again. Let's just do color keyword for right now. This is review, right? So let's get through the review a little fast. We can get to all the good stuff. Like I said, this class will probably go for about 2 hours, a little bit shorter than our normal one, just because I want to have some fun. Color blue. What handles boldness, chat? Chat, what handles boldness? What should I do to make stuff bold? Ooh, cross came in first. Font weight, nice. Reptar said the finished project is making my designer eyes hurt. Reptar, I agree. I picked these randomly. I picked them randomly. Don't hold it to me, Miriam. All right, so font weight it is. Let's go ahead and make it bold. Let's do font size, and it's gonna be 25 pixels. Cool. And then a red border, so let's go ahead and do border. Let's do 2 pixels, solid red. All right, there we go. That should be good. Ghost said it's all the nun's fault. That is true. It is. Let's go ahead and refresh. And there we go. Blue, red border, bold it, 25 pixels. I feel like we're doing good here, folks. Let's keep it going. Oh, I can just grab this right here. I'm just going to grab this and make that my next comment. That is on make this section. So that's interesting. So let's go ahead and put this comment down here. Remember, you can highlight it and then just do command or control / and that'll comment it out. Cool. So let's go ahead and give the section width of 50%. Cool. Height of 200 pixels. A background of gray. A black border. So let's do border. Let's do a little bit thicker this time. 5 pixels, solid black. And paragraph text of white. So let's just do color for the font color white. Cool. It's modern art. All right, let's go ahead. We saved it. Let's go back. Let's refresh. And there we go. You'll notice that we had 2 sections though. So both of our sections now have this style. How can I target just this section? What did you all do to target just that one section? Nice. Folks use the ID. If we look, this has the ID of hello. Hello, everyone. So let's go ahead and target that ID. So instead of it being section, I'm going to use my octothorpe and then hello. And remember, that's going to target just that one section and only that section. Nice. Seems like chat had that one locked down. Let's go back and take a look. All right, let's refresh. And there we go. So now it's just applying to just that one section. Can you use the P tag? You could. Yeah, you could have targeted that text a little bit more directly. However, I knew that if I put it on this section, that paragraph would inherit it from the section's styling. So I kind of got a twofer there. All right, let's grab this last one. Go ahead and make my last comment down here. Remember, this is just kind of shaking off the cobwebs before we jump into the new stuff and have some fun. All right, let's paste this. Remember, we're going to highlight it and then going to do command /. Right, command / is going to go ahead and make a comment. And then let's go ahead and give ourselves a little bit of room. Make this footer have an orange background. So let's target the footer. And let's go ahead and do background orange. I'm letting the text editor help me. Border. Let's do 3 pixels, solid gold. Text 20 pixels. Oh, this text. Let's just stay here with the footer for now. And then let's look at our HTML here. We want this H3. How can we target this H? Well, there's only one H3, so we don't have to worry about targeting. We can just say H3, right? If there were other H3s, we could do footer space H3. But since there's only one H3, we can just go ahead and target H3. Let's make the text 20 pixels, white, and have a font family. So let's go ahead and do, let's go ahead and target the H3. And let's go ahead and do, what was it? Border. Let's do 2 pixels, solid gold. Let's go ahead and do a font size of 20 pixels. And then font family, Roboto. Cool. There is a problem with Roboto, though. What's the problem here? What's the problem here with using Roboto? Blah, blah, blah. I got it right off the jump. It's not linked. We don't have this font yet. We don't have the Roboto font yet, so we can't use it. If we look at our index.html, we don't have it. So let's go to Google Fonts and grab it. Fonts.google.com. And right here it is. It's the very first one. So we can click on that one. And let's just select the 300 for right now. Or sorry, the 400, whatever the regular is. There we go. Grab the link. I'm going to grab that link. I'm going to come back here and paste that link. So now I have the Roboto font from Google Fonts. I have that font from Google Fonts. And I can go ahead. I just want to put this in quotes. Normally they're in quotes. Cool. I'm also going to go put a backup. Helvetica. There we go. So remember, if Roboto doesn't load, then Helvetica should. And then let's go ahead and put Arial at the end. So if Roboto, Helvetica don't load, we know pretty much every browser has Arial. So this will work. Let's save it. Let's go back. Let's refresh. And there we go. We got the horrendously orange background. We have the gold border. And then we didn't target this H3 though. It's not white. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. I don't need a border here again. Let's go ahead and make this color white. Cool. There we go. We'll save that. That should be fixing it. And there we go. Boom. We hit all the goals. Look at that beautiful masterpiece of modern art. I love it. It looks great. Well done, everyone. Well done. All right. Any questions while we're here? This is kind of just, like I said, to get the gears going again. I know we've been in JavaScript land for a while, so this was dusting off the dust, and now we're going to start learning all the new stuff. Chef's kiss. So inspiring. I love it. All right. Let's set up what we're going to learn tonight. Then we'll take our normal break at the top of the hour, and we'll come back and start learning all about CSS animations together. Cool. So I'm going to go back to the slides. I'm going to close this one for now. All right. So tonight is all about CSS animations. It's one of my favorite topics. It's really cool. Hey, Grizzly Guru, thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. Thank you. That really means a lot. For those that are new, every sub, donation, cheers, it's all going to the nonprofit I work at during the day called Resilient Coders. So thank you. Appreciate that, Grizzly. Animations are cool. They're fun. They can add a lot of pizzazz to your site. They can add an extra type of presentation. And there are also some really strong use cases when you use them, right, that can actually make your sites really stand out. So they came on the scene a couple years ago. You couldn't really use them right out the gate, but now you can use them pretty much across every browser. They have pretty much global support now. And so now is like a really good time to learn animations. You can apply them to your site. And the really cool thing about CSS animations is that there are actually media queries that can turn them off. So individuals that have an accessibility concern with animations, if you're using CSS3 animations as opposed to like GIFs or other things like videos that might put animations onto your websites, users can't really like turn them off or stop them easily. Well, with CSS3 animations, individuals that have accessibility concerns can turn them off blanketly by having a media query that does so. So really excited to kind of show you some animations. Let's look at some ones that are my favorites. And then we're going to start talking about how they do them, start building our own animations with CSS. Keyframes, yo. Yep, that's my TED Talk. There you go, Diabolical. Keyframes, yo. That's it. That's how animations work. All right, so we have 4 fancy animations. I already have them pulled up. But if you want to come back to them and you have the slides, you can actually click on any of these, and they're going to take you to CodePens. So let's look at this first CodePen. The Avengers CodePen. Wait for it. Wait, boom, there you go. Look at that. The Hulk does the Hulk, does like a Hulk shake. Let it happen again. There you go. And so the cool thing is, if we look, there is HTML, there is CSS, there is no JavaScript. There's nothing that's powering this other than CSS. Okay. The cool thing is that each one of these shapes is actually just an HTML element. So they use divs. Like if we go ahead and we look at, let's see, Hulk right here, right arm is a div. So the right arm that comes up, that's actually a div. If we look at like Captain America, his head is an anchor tag. Sorry, his head is a div with the letter A inside of it, right? So it's actually just HTML elements, right? And some CSS. And all that shaking is coming from the animations of CSS. So it's one of my favorite ones to look at. It's one of the first ones where I saw like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, no images, no JavaScript, just HTML and CSS here. No images. It's wild, right? Let's look at another one. This is so cute. This is not an image. This is not a video. This is strictly HTML and CSS. All right. No JavaScript, folks. Nothing powering that. All right. Just HTML and CSS. So this is like if you like learn the basics here today and you take off running for the next year, this is where you could get, right? This is some seriously impressive stuff. Just HTML, just CSS. So this is kind of like bleeding edge here. All right. Now, some practical uses for this that I really like why you'd want to do this. Here's one that's fun. So here's like a house slider that you could imagine on like Zillow or Redfin, like any of those sites where you go to look at houses or apartments, right? So this does combine JavaScript and CSS animations. The JavaScript is basically listening for these movements here. So when I make the movement of the slider, it's using the CSS animations to make the house smaller, right? And also do all that wiggling. So go up to 4, wiggling, house gets bigger, 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 right? So you're combining JavaScript for that interaction with CSS for that presentation. And so when you start to combine it with JavaScript, you get some really powerful stuff that can add a lot of interactivity to your websites. Cross, you'll be able to figure out, I promise. Take some time, you'll get there. All right, let's look at one last one that's my favorite. This is by far like my favorite use of CSS animations. This blew my mind. The first time I saw this, my mind was blown, like blown, blown, blown. So here it just looks like a normal sign up form. This is all just CSS animations. There's JavaScript that's triggering the animations, but this is all CSS animations. So ready? I'm going to go ahead and start typing in an email. And so look what happens as I type the email. The Yeti follows as I'm typing. What? Let me go ahead and delete all that again. Hold on. Let's do that. So click out. Yeti's looking at us. Start typing your email, and it follows you as you type your email. And then the beautiful thing, if you start typing your password, he hides his eyes as you're typing the password. If you click show, he like peeks. All right. So there's JavaScript that's listening for those events. But the actual like movement of the Yeti, that's all CSS3 animations, right? And so you can start to see how like, yeah, on the one end, it's just like fun. But on the other end, you can start, if you master this, you can add a lot of interactivity and a lot of fun stuff to your website. So this is what got me interested. When I saw this, I was like, holy crap, I got to learn all I can about CSS animations. The really interesting thing is it's not super hard. We're going to learn 3 major pieces, transforms and keyframes. And with that, we can pretty much build any animation that we want. So yeah, it looks hard. It looks weird. It looks a little difficult, but don't worry. We're going to learn the basics and start building our own animations. We're going to use our own animations to build a lunch money winner app. We're going to use animations to build a flip cup app. We're going to use animations to animate some Street Fighter characters. And at the very end, we're going to use animations to build a duck hunt game. So that's what we're building up to today, folks. All right. So let's go ahead and start moving through the slides to learn the basics of animations. Okay. So for these animations to work, we're going to need some new CSS, some CSS that we got with CSS3. Remember, just like HTML, we're on HTML5. CSS has a board that votes on the new things that should make it into the CSS specification. And then those things that they vote on get put into CSS. And eventually, over time, the browsers adopt them. You can always go to websites like Can I Use to see if you can use any of these newer animations. The cool thing is that transforms and all the things we're going to learn about animations today pretty much have global coverage. You go back 2 years ago, that really wasn't the case, but now animations are ready for prime time. Okay. All right. So when it comes to transforming, it's just a CSS property that's going to make the beginnings of a lot of these animations work. Okay. The first thing that we're going to see is that this matrix is a property that combines all the other properties that come after it. So don't worry about matrix up front, right? Matrix is like the combination of all these things. With CSS transform, we have the ability to translate, which just means we can move stuff back and forth across the page, either across an x-axis, like left to right. That's why I asked you left or right today. Or the y-axis, up and down, like 2D translation, okay? With transform, we can scale stuff, like making it bigger or making it smaller. We can rotate stuff, like spinning it. We can skew stuff, like trapezoids get skewed. And we can do combinations of these things together, okay? So this is the new property that we got. This property is what enables us to do a lot of these animations. So we're going to see them in action. I wanted to throw that out there first. Let's talk about how I used to make my lunch money. All right. Growing up, I didn't go to school with lunch money. I went to school with Beyblades. Okay. And Beyblades are how I got my lunch money, because I would compete and I would always win. My Beyblades were dope. They were stacked. I never lost. Okay. So let's go ahead and open up the Lunch Money app, the Lunch Money starter code, and look at it together. So I'll give everybody a second to go ahead and do that. I'm going to do it myself. If you're new and you want the slides to follow along, all the starter code that we're about to go through together, !Discord in our Twitch chat will give you access to our Discord link. Agree, sign up to the rules, and once you get to rules, you'll see a follow along materials channel. That follow along materials channel will give you everything that you need for all this starter code for everything that we're about to go through right now. Also, welcome if you're new. All right, here we go. Here's my lunch money code. The first thing I want to show you before we even start is let's look at this Beyblade PNG. I am showing you this because it is a PNG. It is not a GIF or GIF if you are of that persuasion. It's just a regular old image, okay? But when I open this in the browser, boom, let it rip, right? We got the Beyblade spinning, right? It's spinning. Blah, blah, I'll see you later. Hope the kids are all right. All right. We saw that was just a regular old PNG, but this PNG is spinning in a circle. Okay. A Beyblade is toys. They're toys. They were tops. So like, you know, like a spinning top, like if you ever heard like a dreidel, imagine if like dreidels had like weapons and you could fight other tops together. Right. There was a whole TV show. You could buy different pieces to make your Beyblades heavier or attack more. And then you would pull a cord and yell, let it rip. And then they would fight each other. And the last one still spinning won. So I used to bet money on this growing up. And that's how I used to eat my lunch, make my lunch money. So they're just competitive. Yes, they're anime dreidels. Yeah, no, they're like competitive tops. So this is spinning. We saw originally that it was an image. That image was not moving. It was not a GIF. Let's look at the code and see how this is actually being caused to spin. So if we look at our image has a class called Let It Rip. Okay. That class is called Let It Rip. This is what's going to power the spinning when it comes to our CSS. So if we look at our CSS, we see the Let It Rip. We see the Let It Rip class. Okay. Miss Turner, I'm glad they got excited. So we have this class, and this class is what's going to set up the animation for us. When it comes to animation, there are a lot of different words and things that we got to help us set up animations. We're going to go through all those together. The only thing you really need to pay attention to right now is that this animation name is Beyblade Action. Beyblade Action is tied to the keyframes above it. Okay, so we're going to do two things when it comes to this animation. One, set up the animation. And then two, set up the keyframes. The keyframes are just like, if you imagine like a movie, each movie, like there's a slide for each piece of the movie, right? And as the slide progresses and you move through them really fast, you see the movie and it doesn't look like individual panes. But a movie is individual. Like if we're talking about like a non-digital movie, each movie, remember like the old film reels, right? Each slot on the reel was a different movement. And then when you watch them really fast, your brain doesn't recognize that they're different pieces and it glues them all together. We're doing the same thing in the browser. We could say, all right, here are the different slots I want on that movie reel, and here's what I want them to do, right? Have you ever seen like that old school, like the horse jumping, like the old school, you spin the wheel and you see the horse jumping? That was like the first like animated movie or something like that, right? It's the same thing. Exactly, Miriam, like flip books, right? Keyframes are just individual pages in your flip book. So you can say, all right, on the first page, do this. On the second page, do this. On the third page, do this. On the fourth page, do this. And if you flip them fast enough, it looks like something's moving. Okay? So that's what we're doing here. We're saying, hey, this image has the class of let it rip. And what I am saying here is, all right, at the beginning, I want it to be rotated 0 degrees. 25% later, be at 135, 50% be at 270, and 100% be 360 degrees. So what we are doing, right, is we're saying, all right, start the Beyblade here, 25% of the way be here, 50% be here, and 100% be here. A full rotation. So these keyframes are telling that Beyblade to spin. Rotate, right? Rotate has 3 different axes upon which you can rotate. So we gotta remember like physics class. X-axis, Y-axis, and then Z is the axis that goes out towards you or away from you, right? So if you're thinking about flipping a cup, you probably want to go around the X-axis. If you're talking about spinning a coin, you're going to spin around the Y-axis. And when we want to rotate something, that rotation is going around the Z-axis. Okay? Okay? So that's how we're going to rotate. We're just rotating it around that axis. Now, this is a little complex at first, so let's keep digging down into it. The percentages are just where you want to be at as you progress through the animation. Okay? So if we look at the original class, each animation is going to take half a second. Let's slow this down so we can actually see the keyframes, okay? I'm going to add an extra 0 here, which is going to take this from half a second, right? Which is going to take us from half a second to 5 seconds. So let's go ahead and save this. Let's go back to the browser. And the Beyblade should spin much, much slower now. There we go. That looks really cool, right? So now each animation is taking 5 seconds. So when I am at the beginning, I want the image just to be where it's at. 25% of the way through, I want it to turn a little bit. 50% of the way, I want it to be a little bit more. 100% of the way, I want to be even more. So all we're doing is we're saying, all right, here's how I want it to be rotated at each of those different intervals. Okay? We can make it even faster if we wanted to. We can go back. We can make it really fast. All right, let's go. Well, let's make it even faster. Let's do 50. So it's like, wow. Zoom. That's what my Beyblade looked like during lunch. That's how I did it. All right, that's how I did it. Mine asked a really interesting question. How come it's speeding up and slowing down? Let's go back and take a look at the code. Let's set this back to a moderate spin here, half a second per animation. All right. And let's look at these keyframes. These keyframes are a little odd. If we look, we're seeing a little jumping here. All right. We're seeing a little jumping. Right. what could be affecting this rotation? What could be affecting this rotation? There's a few things. There's two ways to smooth out an animation when it comes to the keyframes. You can either add a whole lot more keyframes, or you can remove a bulk of them, right? The more keyframes you give it, the better it'll be able to be exactly where you want it through the animation. But my math is kind of off here. Like, these aren't like the perfect degrees for the rotation. Let me get rid of 50% and 25%. Let's just go from 0 to 100 real quick. All right, let's go back. Let's look at the browser here. Now that looks a little bit smoother to me. That looks a little smoother to me, right? The browser is filling in the animation for me. Instead of me specifying where I wanted it to be at 25 and 50%, the browser is doing all the heavy lifting for me. It's like, all right, I know I want to go from here to here over half a second. So it smooths it out for us, right? It smooths it out. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at the pieces that are here, and then we'll talk about them more in depth. So remember, the image has the class of let it rip. This is how I'm going to apply the style. Okay. So here's the class. Animation name ties the class to the keyframes, right? We see that Beyblade action is the name of the keyframes. So I'm able to tie the class to the keyframes via the animation name. Iteration count is how long is this going to continue for? Let me go ahead and change this to 5. So now what should happen is that it should complete 5 animations and then stop. So let's go ahead and take a look. 2, 3, 4, 5, boom, and stops. So it did it 5 times and stops. So you can set it to infinite and the animation will never stop. If we're talking about my Beyblades, those are set to infinite. They would not stop. There's nothing you're going to do to stop my Beyblade. Okay. So I set mine to infinite. Yours was on like 2. Yours was on 2. Mine was on infinite. Okay. Can't stop, won't stop. Rockefeller Records. We came to get down. What can I say? All right. Animation duration, we've kind of already seen. The more we increase the animation, the longer each cycle takes. The shorter we make it, the faster each cycle takes. The timing function we'll see in a little bit. It kind of dictates how the animation progresses. So don't worry about that yet. We'll get to that in a second. And then animation play state running, there's 2 options here, right? There's running and there's paused. So if I set this to paused, then the animation would stop. This is really important because with JavaScript, we can actually set the play state to running, or with JavaScript, we can set the play state to paused. Okay. And so that would give us the power to start and stop animations via JavaScript, which would be pretty cool. So this is pretty basic. It's just showing you that we can set up an animation. We can have this idea of keyframes. Let those concepts get into your head. We're going to take a break. Then we're going to break down each of these individual pieces so we understand exactly what's going on. And then we're going to get to some fun examples and get your chance to start coding your own. Okay. So it is 1:20. I want to take a 5-minute break. I'm going to put 5 minutes on the timer. All right. Go ahead and do what you got to do. Grab some water, hydrate, get your stretching in, and come back. Thank you, MJ Untitled. I'm going to hydrate myself. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Go ahead, stretch, do what you got to do. Pray, say hello to the kids, grab some water, and we'll see you back here in 4 minutes and 35 seconds. And we're going to get into some fun stuff, folks. You're gonna do one of these animations on your own. We're gonna see some Street Fighter character animations. We're gonna build a duck hunt game. Whew, got a lot planned. All right, folks. See you in 4 minutes. If you have questions, I'll hang around and answer questions. But I want you to hydrate. I want you to stretch. I want you to walk away from the computer for a second and then come on right back. Am I allowed to hydrate without it being redeemed? I don't know. I guess I did make the rules. I'm going to keep drinking as I need it because sometimes it gets hard to talk if I don't drink. Miriam, I didn't ask anyone to check in today because this is technically a bonus class. This isn't actually like the real, the full class. So I didn't ask anyone to check in. I didn't want to make folks feel like they were forced to be here. Yeah, for this one. The actual classes, yeah, you got to show up. But this one, it's extra. Got 3 minutes, folks. Go ahead, grab your water, get your stretching in. Diabolical. Thank you for the hydration. All right. I'm going to switch it out. I'm going to do the tea now. That's the stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think this is the favorite thing. This is probably my favorite part of the stream. It was funny. I love the folks telling me to hydrate. I love it. Charles, just the folks that are part of the Bootcamp the first Bootcamp, I asked them to check in every class. I didn't do it today just because this is like a bonus class. So, yeah. So for folks, if you join 100 devs, I'm going to ask you to check in every class just to make sure folks are showing up. And that way I can know who's still participating and things like that. 2 minutes left, folks. 2 minutes. Get your water in, stretch, do what you got to do. Come on back when you're ready. Oh, Renato, you want to join? Tomorrow, I'm going to publish it on my Twitter. The full application, go ahead and fill it out. Yeah. Jay Blaze, tomorrow, I'm going to put the application up on my Twitter. That's the first stretch. Wow. All right. Thank you. I'm going to stretch real quick. Hold on. There we go. Thank you for the stretch, Charles. I appreciate that. That was good. I needed to stretch. Stretching is pricey. That was $3,000. Thank you. I appreciate that. How many people are left in the current bootcamp? We started with 60. I would say about half has remained active. And so that taught me a lot about how to run 100 devs. Like I said, this was just the first run. We wanted to see if we could do this, if we could maintain folks, if we could make it actually work. And so I think it works. I think we've built a good community. We've had a lot of fun. So I think I could do 100 devs better than I've done this one. I feel like I can get it to the point where everyone can learn the skills they need to be employed. And so I feel really confident about it now. And so I've been putting in a crap ton of work behind the scenes to get ready for it. Honestly, like doing all of the putting together the slides, putting together all the practice problems, like thinking through all that stuff takes a lot of time. And so I wanted to make sure that I could do it first. And now I feel pretty confident with my schedule. I feel pretty confident. With like the ability for folks to learn in this way. And so I'm excited to announce 100 devs and get folks going through a program that I think could help them learn a lot and have a lot of fun and do everything they need to do. So I'm excited. This past week, I put a lot of effort into it after the move. And this weekend, it's pretty much my whole focus this weekend is going to be like getting the stream dialed in even better, getting ahead on terms of like the work and things that I'm going to be putting out. So I'm excited to announce it tomorrow. So timeline for starting, we have still an extra week of the bonus classes. So we have next week, and then probably like 2 weeks after that is when we'll be starting. I just want to get ahead in terms of all the work and everything. So I want like a 2-week head start, just so that if I have to take like a weekend off or something like that, I'm not scrambling during the day to get stuff done. So anywhere from like 3 weeks to a month until it really starts. But yeah. I need to check the meme channel. I will. I should have done it during break. I forgot. Peek what the application process is going to look like. Mine, it's just going to be a survey, and then I'm going to ask for you to like tell me a little bit more about yourself and why you're interested, and whether or not you can be committed to sticking it out for the whole program. So that's kind of the thing that I'm looking for. What are you looking for in applicants? I am looking for folks that can commit to it. I'm looking for folks that want to start a career in web development or software engineering. I'm looking for folks that were primarily affected by the pandemic or underrepresented in tech. Like all those things are like bonus modifiers, I would say. I'm opening the program to anyone and everyone. I'm taking 100 folks. And so I would love it to be folks that were impacted, folks that are underrepresented, but it's open to everyone. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm really looking for like commitment. I'm looking for folks that have been active, right? Like active in chat, active on Discord. That gives me that lets me know that you're excited, you're ready, and that you stick it out. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for like aptitude or anything like that. I don't care if you ever coded before. I don't care about any of that. I think we can get from kind of no technical skills to employable together. All right. Let's go ahead and continue on, folks, and learn some more about animations. So I'm going to go back to the slides real quick. And let's walk through the different animation properties. Okay. We'll look through the different animation properties. We saw with this animation, right, we can set up all these different properties for our animations. Let's go ahead and work through each one of these and what they actually do to help our animations. We'll look at one more together, and then you're going to code one on your own. Reptar Bro, I would love for you to mention how many micro Leons you've accumulated. All right, let's keep pushing, folks. All right, so when we're setting up the animation, we have an animation name. And all the animation name does is it ties those settings to a set of keyframes. The keyframes are going to be like the individual positions in the animation that get put together to complete the animation. So animation name just ties the setup of the animation to the individual keyframes that'll do all the work. Like all of the actual like movement comes from the keyframes, but setting it up and tying the setup to those keyframes comes via the animation name. Sophia, have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. Animation duration, all that's letting us know, and these are all properties, right? These are all properties that would go in our CSS. Animation duration is just the length of time it takes to complete one animation, right? So we can set that to as small as we want or as large as we want, and that's how long one animation is going to take. So if you have a keyframe that's rotating from 0 to 360 and you set it to a minute, it's going to take 1 minute for that rotation to go from 0 in your keyframes all the way to 360 in your keyframes. So animation duration is just how long one of the animations take. Cool. So it's kind of similar to a function where you tell the code to run a function, but tell the code what the function is a little later. Yeah, sure. The animation name tells that, hey, run these keyframes. So yeah, I think you can think about that in that way. Ghostfire, you got a Captain American shield spinner. That's awesome. Yeah, you can apply that to do that. Cool. Animation timing function talks about how the animation progresses through each cycle. So this was probably the hardest one to know. right? This is probably the hardest one to figure out. And so I really like the MDN's article on the timing functions. And so if you click this link, it'll take you to the timing functions MDM article. And so I'm going to pull it up because I think the animation is really helpful. So here is a linear timing function. Okay. Here's an ease out. Notice there's a slight difference here. The linear kind of progresses. The ease out literally eases out. It smooths out. Step is a little easier to see. It just does steps, so it jumps. And then you have like these like fancier timing functions. So when you're first starting with your timing functions, you're probably just going to leave them as linear and call it a day. Unless there's a specific reason to choose something else. Remember these like tools on your tool belt. Unless there's a specific reason to use something else, start with linear, and then as your animations get more complex, you might visit these other ones. Cool. Animation delay is just how long you're going to wait until the animation starts. So you can have an animation that's tied to certain keyframes. You can say how long you want the animation to take. And you can say, you know what, actually wait 5 seconds before the animation starts. Right? The other properties we have are iteration count. Iteration count is just how many times it runs. So you saw that we had it as infinite because my Beyblade's never stopped. But you could also have an iteration count of any number, and it will do those many animations and then stop. Cool. We have animation direction. And so the animation direction will tell you whether the animation should progress forwards, backwards, or there's also an alternating, which is once it goes to the end, it comes back. And we're going to see that alternating in a few minutes. So in a few minutes, we'll see the alternating. But the idea is that you can control the direction of the animation. Does it continue linearly forward? Does it continue linearly backwards? Or does it alternate going back and forth once it's completed? So we'll see those in action. Yeah, alternating is like a yo-yo, exactly diabolical. Cool. Fill mode is another one of those tricky ones, so I wanted to talk about it. You don't have to worry about it right now. It's only if you really want to use it. All fill mode does, and for some reason, I find it very hard to understand it, but all it does is it says, all right, we know that these keyframes are going to apply some style, right? I know these keyframes are going to apply some style. If I have none, those keyframes do their styles and then it goes back to the way it was originally. I can use a fill mode of forwards or backwards or both to have that element retain the style of the first and last keyframe. So let's imagine we have a ball that is blue by default, but the keyframes make it red. Once the animation is done, it'll go from red back to blue, which was the default. With the animation fill mode, you can make it retain the style of the keyframes. So not one that you'll use right off the gate, not one that I think makes a lot of sense to start with. I just wanted to talk about it because that's what it is. It's just, do you want it to retain the style of the keyframes or not? And then animation play state is the cool one. If it's running, the animation will continue until its iteration count is met. If it's paused, the animation stops, right? And exactly diabolical. JavaScript could change this play state. We could set the style. The property would be animation play state, and we could set it equal to pause, and the animation would stop. Okay. So you're going to see all of these in combination to set up your animation, right? This is just to set up your animation. Like, how long is it going to run? How many times is it going to run? Right? The keyframes are going to be the things that do the actual styling though. So let's go ahead and look at lunch money, right? Let's look at it again and let's just run through it quickly, all the things that we saw. So we know that animation name now ties this to a set of keyframes. We know that animation iteration count can be infinite, or any number that will stop this from running after so many animations. We know we can change the animation duration to be how long one animation takes. We know that linear means it just progresses like normal. And then we know that play state can be either running or paused. If it's running, the animation continues. If it's paused, the animation stops. So all of these, right? All these are setting up the animation, right? It's the keyframes that'll do the actual styling. And we tie the setup to the keyframes by the action name. For Sharks, be well. DeNova Stella, welcome back. Hey, glad to see you. All right, so that sets it up. There's something interesting though. Instead of doing it all on all as singular properties, you can actually do a one-liner. So just kind of like border, how you can do border 3 pixels solid black, but you can also do border size, border color, border type, or whatever it is, right? So just like you'd have three different declarations for border, and how you have like these 5 or 6 different declarations for animation, you can actually do it all in one line. I don't ever really use the one-liner. I find it hard to read. So even though you can do it on one line, I like to do it as the separate pieces. So that's kind of a personal preference. I like it separate, but you might do it all on one line. Cool. Remember, keyframes are going to do the actual animation. I like to think of them as just waypoints in the animation sequence. Like, all right, at this point in time, the animation should be doing this. At this point in time, the animation should be doing that. So in this case, if we look at this keyframe, we're going to see at the beginning, it should be at 0 degrees, right? But at the end, it should be at 360 degrees around the x-axis. So x-axis is like you're tumbling down a hill. All right, you're tumbling down a hill. All right. I agree. I agree with Diabolical Cookie. Let your mind take a break. Diffuse for a little bit. All right. Let's go ahead and, sorry, one other thing about the keyframes before we look at the next example is that you don't have to do percentages. You can actually do from and to as well. That works. That's pretty neat. Like if you know you're just going from one value to another, you can do from and to. You can also put percentages in between from and to. So here we start off at 0, we go to 180, and then we complete the rotation to 360. I saw somebody ask, isn't 0 the same as 360? If you're thinking about it in terms of like a complete circle, yes. But remember, this animation is filling in the gaps for us. So the gaps are being filled in from 180 to 360. And so it's just helpful to tell the animation where to go, right? So that's why we're going to go from 0 to 360, because it's going to fill in the gaps for us. All right, let's look at one more before you do your own on your own. So let's look at Flipadelphia. Flipadelphia. So go ahead and open up the starter code for Flipadelphia. All right, here's my starter code for Flipadelphia. If we look at the index.html, we have yet again a cup that has the class of flip this time. Bugaboo Rumham. So if we go ahead and look at the cup, once again, look, no magic, no JavaScript. It's just a regular old image. I'm not doing anything to manipulate it. It is a regular PNG, right? Right? It's definitely just a PNG. It's not a GIF. It's not a GIF. It's not anything that moves. It's not a video. Yet, when I open it in the browser, look at that. Look at that cup flipping action. Alyssa, always sunny jokes are always welcome in this chat. Always. Big fan. QLB, I am using Atom. Atom is just a regular old text editor, but you can use any text editor you want. A lot of folks use VS Code. Panic just came out with a new native macOS editor that I'm really excited to take a look at over the weekend. I believe it's called Nova. Yeah. All right. So that cup is vibing. So it's flipping. Let's go ahead and take a look at how this cup is flipping now. So we have the image that's just a regular old PNG. It has the class of flip. So let's go ahead and take a look at that class in our CSS. And if we look, it's the same setup as last time, right? Same setup as last time. Where's my pen? I dropped my pen. Oh, pen rolled behind my keyboard. I was quite confused. I didn't know where the pen went. Cool. Let's take a look at it. Same setup as last time. Same setup as the Beyblade, right? We have flip, which was the class. Hair check. Flip, which was the class. We're tying this setup to these keyframes up here. Flick of the wrist. All right. And we have some setup things that we have to take care of, right? This animation is going to continue on forever because it's set to infinite. We know that each flip is going to take 0.7 of a second. We know it's going to continue on like normal and that the animation should be running. It's not paused. Okay. Simba ate it. Yeah. Cool. So let's go ahead and take a look at these keyframes. So we start off at 0% and we're going to use rotate X. So remember, rotate Z was like a normal rotation, like a spinning of a top. Rotate X is going around the X axis, so it's gonna be like tumbling down a block. And so that's why the cup is flipping like we're playing flip cup. All right. Also, I'm a beast at flip cup. What can I say? One day we'll have the Tournament of Champions IRL. Cool. And then it ends with 360. Challenge accepted. All right, let's do this. So we have the ability for it to rotate a full 360 degrees around the X axis. And then that animation ends in 0.7 of a second. 100 devs flip cup challenge. We just do flip cup on Zoom. That'd be hilarious. I wonder if anybody's done that. Flip cup on Zoom. That'd be fun. All right, we'll do it. We'll encourage irresponsible drinking. Sure. There goes the Domino's sponsorship, folks. We did the Flip Cup Zoom challenge, and the Domino's sponsorship went out the window. All right. So that's another flipping. What I would like to do is let's go ahead and take a look at the next one, which is, if you open it up, we have the next one. If we go through the slides, just so everybody advances, we have coin spin practice. So if you go ahead and open up the coin spin practice, I'll open up on my end. If you're new and you need the starter code, you can do !Discord in chat. That'll get you to our Discord. If you agree to the rules, you'll see a starter code materials folder that'll be open for you on Discord. You can grab all the material from that channel on Discord. That's what everybody's using to follow along. And so let's go ahead and take a look at this coin spin practice. We'll notice if we look at the image, it's just a regular old coin. It's not spinning. If we open it in the open HTML in the browser, it's also not spinning. So what I want you to do is I want you to get this coin spinning around the y-axis. Okay? Take what you've learned from Flip Cup, take what you've learned from Beyblading, and make this coin spin. I'm going to put 3 minutes on the clock. I think that'll be enough time for you to get it open and to take a peek at the other ones if you need help. Try doing it from memory first. And if you can't do it from memory, go ahead and take a look at our past work. Okay? So go ahead, put 3 minutes on the clock. I'll turn on some tunes. Let's get to it, folks. 3 minutes on the clock. Go ahead and take 3 minutes to do this. At 3 minutes, we'll go over it together. But get this coin a-spinning. If you have questions, go ahead and ask your questions. If you finish, go and put done in the chat so we can see that you finished. Take what I've learned from Flip Cup. Excessive drinking and shame. Got it. Exactly, Reptar. Let me guess, you were also the coin flip champion in your class. No. I did used to play a very stupid game when I was growing up that caused a lot of fights. We called it nickels. We would stand in a circle and we'd all flip nickels. Somebody would call heads or tails. And if, let's say, it was heads and other people threw tails, they all got punched in the shoulder. If somebody called tails and you threw a heads, then you got punched in the shoulder. And we would just stand around for hours doing this like the idiots that we were. This is story time as you work on this. I remember right before, I think it was either middle school graduation. Yeah, it might have been middle school graduation. I was playing that nickels game, flipping and then hitting each other in the shoulders. But it started a real fight. And then I remember I got like a shiner right on my chin. And so my rap album cover will be like my middle school graduation photo, me in my yellow FUBU like polo with a big old black and blue mark on my chin from playing nickels. So I don't think I was the champion of coin flipping, but it was a hell of a lot of fun. Y-axis is like if you're spinning it. Y-axis is like spinning it on the table. That would be the Y-axis. Whoa, we got people done already. K-Cost came in with it done. Dashlyn came in with it done. Kayla came in done. Charles. The code planner came in with it done. Good to see you. Welcome back. Old in code school. Welcome, welcome. Got it done, got it done. DT808 got it done. Nice. Karma came in done. Izzy came in done. Nice. Ghost and Honduran Coder came in done. Good to see y'all back too. Good to see you, Honduran Coder. Straight Jacket done. Nice. 20 seconds, folks. Finish up in 20 seconds, then we'll go over it together. Reptar is done. Nice. Well done, well done, well done. Magic. Dope. All right, folks, come on back. Come on back. Good work, good work. Good work. Welcome back, everyone. Come on back. I'll kill the music. Beautiful. I'm a lot better at the music now because I figured out how I can hear the music at the same time y'all hear the music. Before I wasn't monitoring it, and so that's why I kept missing that I didn't turn it off. So stream quality improving, folks. All right, let's take a look at this together. How did you all do it? How did you get this coin a spinning? What was the trick here? What was the thing that you had to fix? CSS is connected, so we know that that's good. What did y'all fix in the CSS to get this working? Okay. Well, if we look at the HTML, there was no class. So if we first needed the class, right? So we need to give it the class. Nice. Do we have a class already? Oh, we do. We have a class called spin. So let's go ahead and make sure this HTML has the spin class. Nice. Save that. And then let's look at what we got here. We have an animation name, coin goes spinning. So it looks like it's tied to our keyframes. It'll go forever, half a second each rotation. It's going to run like normal, and it's going to be running and not pause. So the setup looks good. I think we're just missing our keyframes. What did y'all do for keyframes? Go ahead and throw them in chat for me. What did you use for keyframes here? Go for it, go for it. Nice. So you went and nice. You did the transform, the rotate Y. I think that's the way to go for it. So let's go ahead and do the keyframes just like our previous one. Let's go ahead and do, we can do 0, right? We can do 0%. And then we can go ahead and say at 0%, we want it to transform to be there. We want it to be rotate, and we're going to say Y. That's going to be on that Y axis. And we're going to say 0 DEG for 0 degrees. Cool. And then let's go ahead and do 100%. We can do the transform. And then we want the rotate to be at 360 degrees. Cool. I think that looks good. Ah, some folks got tripped up by the no class. Yeah, I saw that bugaboo. It was a little sneaky. A little sneaky on my part to not include the class. Cool. Let's save this, see what happens. Let's refresh. Woo, look at that coin spin. Beautiful. Right across that y-axis. It's a two-headed coin because all we do is win in this. All we do is win in this this Discord and this Twitch and this channel. All we do is win. You'll never lose. You can't lose. So you can use this app to win every coin flip ever, right? So be like, oh, let's not use a real coin. Let's use the app that I coded, and I'll pick heads. Cool. So yeah, the trick here, folks, was that I did not include the class. So you needed to link the class first. The class was set up correctly, and then we needed to add our keyframes. Cool. All right, let's keep pushing, folks. Well done, well done. All right, let's take a look at some code. I'm going to go ahead and open up the Hadoken. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the Hadoken code. Let me bring this to my Atom. All right. If we look, we just have a lovely picture of Ryu here. No, nothing. There's no Hadoken coming out. There's nothing there. It's just a lovely PNG again. Look, no hands, all PNG. Cool. It's impossible. That's impossible. Try saying Hadoken without the sound going off in your head. That is impossible. So let's go ahead and open this HTML file in the browser. Oh, look at that. Look at that Hadoken there, folks. Look at that go. It's beautiful. We got a nice blue Hadoken that starts. It transitions to gray halfway through. Gets a gray border at the end. Look at that. That's beautiful. Sign me up. Campcom. You need some help? Let me know. I got you. All right. Let's take a look at this. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. All right. We have a lovely image of Ryu. We have a div that we're going to use for the Hadoken. All right. And so then let's go ahead and look at our CSS and see how we got it going here. So the Hadoken is not on Ryu. Like before, we've been seeing it always on the image, but the class is on the div. And to start off with the div, we gave it a height and width of 200 and then the border radius of 100%. That's going to give us the circle, right? Remember, it's not content, right? It's not actual content. So this is one of those rare cases where a div makes a lot of sense here, right? I never thought I'd say that on stream. All right. So we got a height and a width, a background of blue, and a border radius of 100%. That's going to give us the nice circle. I wanted it to start up next to Ryu and not below him or above him. So it's floated, just quick and easy to get it next to it. And then I went again and set up the animation. So we have the lovely pew pew, which is going to tie this setup to these keyframes up here. These keyframes have pew pew. So the animation set up to be tied correctly. It's going to go on forever. Each duration takes 3 seconds to go across the screen, and it's running. Okay. If we go ahead and look at the keyframes, we're using another transform value called translate. Think of translate as like a grid, an X and Y grid. Your first value is X, so moving along the X axis. Your second value is your Y axis going up and down. So with translation, you can move something in 2D space across the page or up and down the page. And that's what we're doing. We're starting off at 0, 0. We're saying, hey, 50% of the way through the animation, make it gray just so it looked like it was changing or something like that. And then 100% of the way, give it a border and also have it go 900 pixels. So it's going to go 900 pixels to the right, right? Since we're doing it linearly, right? Since we're doing it linearly, it's going to go all the way to the right and then start over again. All the way to the right, start over again. All the way to the right, start over again. Right, so we got that nice little linear going. Let's speed it up a little bit. Let's make this a little bit faster. Let's do it as 1 second. If we go back and look, now it should be faster. Boom, boom, Hadouken, Hadouken, Hadouken. All right. So what I wanted to show here was this translation, right? This idea, we saw transform so far for rotation, but we can also use translation when it comes to transforming. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Cool. All right. So let's keep this translation in mind because we're going to see it with the next example. Okay. For the next example, we have, let me go ahead and open it for y'all. I'm going to actually advance the slides first. So we have a bird fly practice. I'm going to show you what it does, and then I'm going to ask y'all to build it. Here's what it does. So the bird is flying across the screen. It's going left and right. What do you think is enabling the bird to go left and right? Chat, what's enabling this bird to go left and right? Translate, yes. So the transform property, but the translate value. Nice. So what's also making it be able to do that rotation so that it's always flying forwards? So we know translate's making it go back and forth. Yeah, and we got to transform rotate. So we're going to combine both of these here together. We're going to do the translation and the rotation. Okay. This is a GIF. This is actually a GIF that's making the bird blink, but the GIF is not controlling it going across the screen. All right. So go ahead and use the starter code, folks. I want you to go ahead. I'm going to put, let's put 3 minutes. Now let's put, 3 minutes on the clock. I'm going to give you all 3 minutes. All right. Glad you stopped by. Let's put 3 minutes on the clock, folks. And I want you to go ahead and use that bird fly practice and get this going from right to left and also flipping. So go ahead, take 3 minutes. I'll put some tunes on. Let's put some music on. Metrics, it was great having you, even if you got trolled. Thanks for stopping by. Peace. All right, everybody, go ahead. You got 2 minutes, 40 seconds left. If you have questions, go ahead and ask your questions. If you all are new and you want to follow along, you can always do !! slides in Twitch chat. That'll give you the slides that we're following along with. And if you like all the starter code that we're using to do all these projects, go ahead and do ! Discord in chat. That'll get you access to our Discord channel. And when you join our Discord channel, there will be a follow along materials channel. Once you agree to all the rules, that'll give you all the starter code. Thank you, Alyssa. I appreciate that. Whew. Minute, 53 seconds left. Excuse me. Bugaboo said, hey, Leon, will you be doing office hours this weekend? Yes, I will be doing office hours on Saturday from 12 to 3 p.m. You're always welcome to stop on by. We'll definitely be reviewing all of these animations, just so folks that are a little bit lost, if it's not really sticking in, the transform, the translating, the rotating, if that's not sticking, stop on by office hours. We'll go through it again. I'm also going to do one or two more like funner things during office hours, maybe another game or extending the game a little bit, just to give folks an incentive to show up, even if they're not going to ask questions. Yeah, we're back to regular schedule, folks. I'm hoping to have office hours every Friday be a consistent thing. Who but JG? Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome. Super Cyborg Ninja Among Us. That'd be fun. We got to do a game night. We'll do a game night. I think before 100 devs launches, we'll do a couple game nights together just to get folks to know who each other are. All right, about 30 seconds left. Finish up strong. I know this was a little bit difficult one. We're going to combine now everything together here, though. I've been watching an unhealthy amount of Among Us on Twitch. It's quite entertaining. All right, folks. Oh, kind of done. Okay, right at the buzzer. Welcome back, folks. Come on back. Come on back. Let's go over this together. I said class would go about 2 hours today, so I'm going to try and keep it to that. I have one more big example I want to go through. And then we'll call it for tonight. So let's go ahead and take a look at the solution for this. I'm not going to code it out. I'm just going to show it to you. We're going to talk through it, and then we'll move on. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure that I keep to my promise here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. All right, here we go. So I'll show you how I did mine. Let me tell me in chat if you got close. So if we look at the HTML, I have my bird image. This was an image I got off of Giphy, and so the artist is here. I think it was pretty cool that they put him on Giphy. What? Nice. So the community challenge was just completed at 100%. Thanks to Omar for bringing us across the finish line. Well done. Awesome. That's wild. So we're able to hit 20K in one stream. That blows my mind. And people have been doing other things too. So kudos to everyone in chat. I will launch the Minecraft server this weekend. So this weekend, we'll get the server up for those that want to have an extra place to hang out in between streams. Maybe we'll do a gaming stream together. I'll share out that Minecraft server in Discord this weekend. So hopefully we'll see some of you online on Minecraft, playing Minecraft. So wow, well done everybody. That was wild. I'm still like super impressed. We hit the 5K one like instantly. We hit the 10K one instantly. That means people like used up all their points, and we still hit a 20K one in one stream. That's wild to me. That's really wild. I gotta think of what the next one's gonna be, and it's gonna be 30K. I don't think we can hit that in one stream, but we'll try. We'll try. Ghost said, "Can they teach inside of Minecraft?" That'd be hilarious. We should try it. That'd be fun. I'll try and think of something creative for us to do inside of Minecraft that is coding related. Alyssa said, "Don't make bigger goals." Cool. All right, everybody. Congrats on that one. That was awesome. That was really cool to see. Oh, man, I love doing this so much. This community is amazing. I like when I had the idea for doing this, I didn't know it would be this good. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you all for contributing, for hanging out every class, and for learning some stuff together. So I'm really excited to get this Minecraft server up. I think it'd be fun to hang out with everyone outside of class. So it'd be cool. All right. Let's go ahead and look at how I did this. So I have my image. That bird image came from Raf's Design. Shout out to Raf's Design. They had this image on Giphy, which is pretty cool. So I used it because it's like a blinking bird. It's just this bird right here. So the wings are flapping. It's blinking, but that's it. It's not moving across the page. It's not flipping. And so, oh, I missed the hydrate. Oh, I did. K-Doge, I'm so sorry. Hydration is key. Thank you for the hydrate. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Miss Turner is Dr. Black. Yeah, thank you. All right, so it is flapping, it is winking, but it's not missing. It's not moving. It's not moving to left and right. It's not flipping. So let's see how we did that. Our HTML has the class of fly. So that's what's going to grab this image, and let's look at my setup. My animation name that ties this to the keyframes is fly away. My iteration count is infinite. My animation duration is 3 milliseconds, which is three seconds. We could do 3S, which would be 3 seconds. I like the milliseconds. This is a personal preference. It's linear, so it'll go to 1. It'll continue forward. And it's alternating. That's the trick here. This animation direction is alternating. So what that means is once it finishes, it goes back. So that's what's going to keep it going back and forth. And excuse me, it is running. It is not paused. Okay. So if we look at this, if I get rid of this alternating, let's see what happens. Just so we can see that the setup is important. So let me save it. And then let's go back to the browser. And let's refresh. So see how it gets to the end and then it ghosts all the way back to the beginning? That's what happens when it's not alternating. So see, it gets to the one end and it ghosts. It doesn't kind of go bouncing back and forth. And so the alternating property is what gives it that ability. So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's add that back. Let's save. Let's go back and refresh. And now we're going to see that it's going to go and then bounce back. That's that lovely alternating setup, right? So having that alternating property will give you some extra functionality that you can use to benefit yourself. So let's go ahead and go back and look at the rest of the code. The keyframes, the translation is it's going to be 300% from starting point, all right? And then back to 0. Right? From 300% and then back to 0. So that's how I'm getting it to move. It translation's going back and forth, back and forth. I could have started at 0 and went to 300%, but I wanted to show you that you can also start it from somewhere different, right? So I started at 300% over to the right, and then it came back and it went back. The way I got it to flip was with the rotate. So at the end, it should also be rotating. And remember, if you don't have a lot of keyframes, it's going to try and fill in the difference. So it's trying to smoothly rotate to 180 by the end and then smoothly rotate back to 0 across the whole 3 seconds. So that's why we get this nice smooth rotation and we get that translation back and forth. All right, so we're using the transform translate and we're also using the rotate Y. 300% was I just put a big number to move it all the way to the right. We could have used pixels. You could have done something else, but I'm just using a percentage here to move it all the way to the right first. Yeah, that's all I'm doing there. Yeah. So I moved it all the way over and then I brought it back to 0 and we're just going back and forth and we're rotating as we do the translation. So the cool thing here is that this transform property gives you the goods, folks. It gives you the ability to move stuff. It gives you the ability to rotate stuff, skew stuff, scale stuff. Anything you want can be done with this transform property. And so we've seen it in action to do a lot of fun stuff, right? There's one other thing I want to show before we end it, because I promise this wouldn't go as long as our normal class is. And there's two things. I want to show like a practical use case for this. And then I want to show a game. So we're going to do wiggle buttons, and then we're going to do duck hunt, and then we're going to call it for the evening. Okay. So Wiggle buttons are the bane of my existence. I hate them. I hope that none of you ever do them or use them, but they are damn effective. So let me show you what a wiggle button does. I'm going to go ahead and open up my code wiggle button. Let me close my other code here. Let me close all this. And let me go ahead and open up wiggle buttons. So if you're following along, you can go ahead and open up that wiggle button code as well. All right, bring it over here. All right, here's my wiggle button code. Let's open this in the browser and take a look. Look at this. Wow, look at it. Look at it go. Nothing. 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 What was that? Pay attention. Look at this. What? What? What was that? Did that just move? So these are wiggle buttons. I hate them. They're the bane of my existence. What they are is every 10 seconds, this button's going to wiggle. Right? So you're on a website, right? You're on a website, you're just scrolling, and then boom, you see it wiggle. And you're like, wait a minute, did that just move? Did that just wiggle? Did I see that right? Did that move? And then you sit there and you're like, oh, wait, it did it again. How do I make, and you realize you have no control over the wiggle. It's designed perfectly to draw your attention to something that they want you to convert on. So whether that's clicking subscribe, like imagine if you went to my YouTube, like imagine if everyone did !YouTube and then went to the YouTube and clicked the subscribe button, right? Imagine if everybody did that, right? Like did !YouTube and everybody went and clicked the subscribe button, right? That would be a good call to action, right? This call to action, though, what it's used for is to get your attention to do something on a website. Think about if you were scrolling and you just saw the button start to wiggle, your eye's actually going to go to it, and then you're probably going to click on it, right? So for a while, a lot of websites were using wiggle buttons. They would move, they would jump, they would do something to grab your attention, right? And then have you click on it, okay? I hate them. They're horrible. They break the experience for me. I don't like them, but I want you to see how you build them. So let's take a look. If we look, there's just a regular old div here, right? Regular old div. If we look in the CSS, there's a class called wiggle. It only lasts 200 milliseconds. It's alternating, so it's going to go to the left and then to the right and then stop. And you can see the way we make it wiggle. We make it wiggle by rotating it to the left a little bit and then rotating it back to the right a little bit. That's how we do the wiggle. But it only lasts 200 milliseconds. And if we look, it's not actually applied at the start. So if this div does not have the class, but it somehow magically gets it later on, what do we think is adding and removing the class? What are we using to do that? How can we add and remove wiggle? Yes, exactly, folks. Way to go, chat. We're going to use JavaScript. We're going to use JavaScript to either add the class or remove the class. Let me show you that JavaScript here. Now, the JavaScript doesn't have to make sense. I just want you to see it. What setInterval does is it's a function that's built into JavaScript, right? It's a function that's built into JavaScript that will do something every amount of time you specify. So what we have here is a function. I've highlighted the function here. This function is going to run every 10 seconds, all right? Every 10 seconds, this bit of code is going to run. What this code does is it adds the class wiggle to the div, which is going to make it wiggle. And then 400 milliseconds later, it removes the class wiggle. That's all it does. So every 10 seconds, we're going to add the class wiggle and then immediately remove it. So every 10 seconds, it's going to wiggle a little bit. All right. So this is how you can make wiggle buttons. The idea here that if you wanted to increase conversion on your website, you could use the transform property to make it rotate. You can make it grow and shrink. You can make it scale. And you could do it sneakily every minute. And a user will look at it, their attention will go to it, and they're like, wait a minute, did that just move? And then they're going to sit here and look at it for a minute. It's not going to do anything, right? So that's how you can do wiggle buttons. I hate them. You could absolutely, RJ, you could actually make this on hover if you wanted to. There's an event in JavaScript called mouse enter. So as your mouse enters, you can make it wiggle one way. And then as your mouse leaves, you can make it wiggle the other. Yeah. No. So that's how we make wiggle buttons. Like I said, like the JavaScript, we don't need to really fully understand. I just wanted to show you like what people actually practically use this for and like where you might see it. Now that I've explained to you wiggle buttons, you're going to start to see them everywhere. Now that you know they exist, I guarantee you're going to see one. Yeah, so this right here, this is an arrow function. So this is the function inside a set interval. Set interval takes in two values, a function and an amount of time. So every 10 seconds, the function that goes here will run. Definitely play along with this JavaScript. If you've been following along and you've been paying attention to JavaScript class, definitely look at set interval and set timeout on the MDN, and then come back and look at this. Yeah, you could have an animation delay for delaying the starting of it. Yeah, that could get it to start at a different time. Cool. So those are wiggle buttons. I want to do one more thing, and then we'll do a raid and call it for tonight. This is Duck Hunt. I wanted to build a very simple game using this idea of animation. And so let me go ahead and open up Duck Hunt code. You can also open it on your end if you would like. Let me go ahead and open this code. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, the MDN can be a little tricky. If there's ever something that doesn't make sense and you definitely want to review it, stop on by office hours if you can. Happy to like go through things in detail. All right, here's Duck Hunt. Let's open it in the browser. All right, so you can see I have a timer going down here. And I have some well, my bird flying around. And if I click on the bird, boom, ducks brutally slaughtered, 1, right before the time went out, right? So this is a very, very simple game. I basically have one duck floating around. Let me refresh. And I have 20 seconds to click on it, okay? I have 20 seconds to click on this duck. If I don't click on time, right? Like if I don't click within the 20 seconds, let's see what happens. It goes away. So I really only have 20 seconds. If I don't click on it within 20 seconds, it disappears. So this is my Duck Hunt. Well, not Duck Hunt. This game is not Duck Hunt. I do not want to get sued. Please don't sue me, Nintendo. But watch your back. Don't sue me though. So this is Bird Hunt. I think I can get away with that. This is Bird Hunt. Let's take a look at Bird Hunt. So we have a couple things going on here. You guys are hilarious. Y'all are hilarious. So let's go ahead and take a look here. We have a span called body count. That's where we're going to put our slaughtered ducks. The total number of slaughtered ducks goes inside a body count. Time left goes inside this span with the ID of time left. We have one image that's going to be flying around, and then we've linked to some JavaScript. Okay. Let's take a look at our JavaScript, and this JavaScript will be a little bit complex. Don't worry about following too far along with it. I just wanted to show it to you. I wanted to show how we could combine these things. How we can combine these things to build something fun. Okay. So you'll also notice I've used some of the code from the last JavaScript class. So let's talk through what I did. I set up two variables, one for how many ducks we have brutally murdered, right? And then one for the amount of seconds left in the game. So body count starts off at 0 and time left starts off at 20. So time's going to go down, count's going to go up. Okay. I've also grabbed all the images that could be on this page. Right now there's only one image, but for homework, I want you to add at least 2 more birds that are moving around erratically. So what this is going to do is this is going to grab every image that's on the page. So if you go ahead and add 2 more birds, it'll grab those 2 additional birds as well. Okay. Line 5 is grabbing all the bird images and adding an event listener to them called murder. Okay. So what it's doing is every single bird now has this click event on it, right? Just a really simple click event. If you click on the bird, you set its display property to none. So what's that going to do? If I click on the bird and it sets its display property to none, what is that going to do? What's that doing? Yeah, it's going to make it disappear. So that's how I murder my ducks, right? I click on it, it makes it go away. And then on the next line, I add 1 to body count, right? And then I put that updated count into the DOM, right? So if I click on a bird, it makes that bird go away. I increase the count by 1, and then I put that count back into the DOM. Okay? That's all I'm doing. So pretty simple. And then this mess down here is just setting up the timer. So every second, I am deducting from time, and I'm putting the time left into the DOM. So every second, I'm subtracting 1 and putting the updated value, right? Putting the updated value into the DOM. And then I'm just saying, hey, if I'm out of time, make all of the bird images disappear. That's all I'm saying, is make time go down every second. And if I'm out of time, get rid of all the birds. The DOM is the document object model. It's the rendering of the HTML and CSS. So the HTML and CSS is read by the browser, and what you see when you're looking at Chrome or Firefox is the DOM. So we're going to use JavaScript to put stuff into the DOM, take stuff out of the DOM. But what we're really saying is just like make stuff hide and show in the browser. Ooh, Omar said, is it possible to add a time bonus after murdering a bird? Yes, we could do that. Interesting. Let's try it real quick. Let's just do time left real quick. Let's not get too off track. I just want to see if this would work. Let's do plus equals 5. All right, let's save that and see what happens. Die. Hey, there we go. We got 5 extra seconds. Nice. So yeah, it was pretty easy to add that extra time bonus for murder. That's all I did right there. Cool. So let's just quickly run through it again. Select all the images that might be in the DOM. Add the click event to each one. If I click on them, we make the bird disappear. We increase our count of murdered birds by 1, and then we put that back into the DOM, like how many birds we've got. And then I also have this neat little code down here, which is just handling the timer. So every second it subtracts 1 from 20, and if we get to 0, it gets rid of all the birds. They're not built-in functions. We made all these functions tonight. Cool. All right, folks. Questions about this silly game. What I want you to do for homework is I want you to add, I really want everyone before next Tuesday's class to add 2 more birds. Get 2 more birds to show up on this screen that we can click on. 2 more birds. All right. It's been wonderful to be back. It's been wonderful to have you all. I would love to do a raid to end off tonight, and then I will see you all at office hours. And then we're back next week to continue our JavaScript class on Tuesday and Thursday. So it's been wonderful having you all. I love being back. I missed you all dearly when we weren't able to meet earlier this week, I mean. So I'm going to find someone to raid, and then let's do that raid real quick. It's been wonderful having you all. Have a great evening. Looking for somebody to raid right now. All right. Everybody get ready to raid. If you've unlocked the emote with your channel points, let's use the emote in their chat. All right, somebody's doing some charity prep. Let's go ahead and raid them. All right, we're gonna go raid Fierce Kitten. All right. So raid is starting. All right, let's raid, folks. See you over there.